friends, this is Satwinder Bhatia from Sukhmani Immigration Services, Brampton, Canada. I am a regulated and licensed Canadian immigration consultant. Today I will be sharing with you in depth a very important topic. Nobody has touched this in totality. I will be giving you a complete picture of a very important topic, but before that, a small request. If you are new to the channel and have not subscribed yet, please do consider subscribing. We talk a lot about Canadian immigration news, update, tips and tricks on this channel. If you like the video, please share it with your family and friends so that they can also benefit. Please press bell icon so this video comes to you immediately when we upload. Please remember one thing, this channel is dedicated to Canadian immigration. So anything you hear on the Canadian immigration will be here. So let's move on to the very important topic, which is about a big cut. Yes, a big cut is happening and going to happen. And what is that big cut? This big cut is on temporary resident. Temporary resident big cut is coming on. So the reason for the big cut is that Canada's government believes that temporary residents are basically, when the number of temporary residents is booming, it is destabilizing the Canadian economy. It is impacting the Canadian economy. Economy consists of lots of things, housing and jobs and everything, right? So it is destabilizing it, and this is what Canada's government believes. And whereas a person who comes to Canada, and let's be honest, the one and the only goal of that person is to become a permanent resident. That is one of the important goals of the person who comes as a temporary resident to become a permanent resident. So with that, unlike the permanent resident, there is no cap. The cap is quota. Unlike the permanent resident, there is no cap on the temporary residents. And when there is no cap, any number can come to Canada. And when any number can come to Canada, this is what happened. 2.5 million. It is a big number considering Canada's population. Canada's population is 40 million max. So if the population is 40 million, 2.5 million, which almost is 7% of the population. 7% of the population is temporary residents, and it is 150% more than when you compare with 2021 statistics, where it was 1 million. So this is what is the actual numbers, and what is happening is, so government is now taking action. Well, honestly speaking, it is the government who approved it, but now they are in a panic situation and now they are planning to take the action. So the broad action, I'll come down to the smaller actions also, but first let's talk about the broad options. So broad actions are, government is planning to reduce the number of temporary residents to 5%, right? Right now it is almost close to 7%. So, but this reduction cannot happen in a single day. It will take time. And 3 years is what government proposing. In 3 years, they will bring down the number to 5%. Of temporary resident, the number will come down to 5%. The second, they will put a cap, a quota, which has never happened in the history. So temporary resident, there was no quota, but now they will put the quota and it will come into the immigration plan also. So just like, you know, if you have not seen my video on immigration plan, you can watch that every September. So Minister presents this immigration plan, and I have shared the details of that plan in depth with you. So that is where Minister is planning to table this, and let us see what happens over there. And now the question is, who is a temporary resident? Because everyone is talking temporary resident, but who is temporary resident? So temporary resident is anyone who is not a Canadian citizen or a PR card holder. Simple. He is not a permanent citizen, permanent resident, or he is not a citizen. If he is neither of them, then he is a temporary resident. Now for the sake of this discussion, the temporary resident we can further divide into 3 broad categories. So the broad categories are non-permanent resident, which are NPR, non-permanent resident, super visa holders, and the third one is unauthorized workers. So the cut is going to happen on this category. Super visa holders, no impact. If you have not watched my video, please do watch. Super visa holder, who is super visa holder, how you get super visa. In detail, I have explained everything on the super visa. So unauthorized workers are those who have no documentation. They are here in Canada, they have no documentation. Zero documentation but living in Canada. So the cut is happening on non-permanent residents. So those are called temporary residents. And what are those temporary residents? The first, everybody is talking about, is students. Yes, the first category is student, and how the cut is happening, I'll explain you. Students, the second category is work permit holders. The third one is visa. Well, before going on to the third category, let me explain you the work permit holder category. The work permit you can get in different ways. It can be a postgraduate work permit which you get after your completion of the studies, or it can be a LMIA based work permit which you get after you get LMIA. It is called a closed work permit or employer specific work permit. So work permit holders are going to get impacted, visitor visa is going to get impacted, spousal visa is going to get impacted. These are the four important categories where you will see the impact of the cut. How? Let us see one by one. So students who get study permit, first of all their intake is capped. So unlimited number of students now cannot come to Canada. Maximum number which can come to Canada is per year is 360,000. So 360,000 study permits will be approved, and this decrease is almost 35% as compared to 2023. So in 2024, which is this year the number of study permits will reduce by 35%. Big deal. Number two, quota will be reassessed. So government will reassess again in the plan that what quota should be given to them. This assessment will happen after they see the results of 2024. And last, attestation letter. So attestation letter, provinces have already started rolling out the attestation letter, and attestation letters give the proof that okay, this student is PRT. Province kind of attest, yes, we are intaking this student. So you cannot just simply have n number of students in a particular province. That's where attestation letter comes into play. That's for the students. Now from students, let's move on to the other category, which is work permit holders. And here let me talk first about the PGWP, which is an open work permit. PGWP 2024, starting September 2024. Government is planning that international students who are a part of the public-private curriculum system will not be provided PGWP. This was the planning, but government is too much in a hurry. And that hurry, what they're doing, they revised it and changed the date to May 15, 2024. The date is changed, already changed. If somebody who is in the May 15, 2024, he will not be getting the PGWP, postgraduate work permit. If he is in a public-private kind of learning college, the chances of getting the PGWP are zero. So that's about the PGWP. Let's move on to another category, which is spousal open work permit. So in the spousal open work permit, what was happening is student who come to Canada after 12th, they sponsor their spouse and then he or she can come to Canada. But this is also changed. So now only spousal open work permit will be only provided to those who are either in master's program or PhD program. Either master's or PhD, or they are part of a professional degree program like medicine, like law. Otherwise, you cannot get a spousal open work permit. So that's about spousal open work permit. Let us now see what is about the visitor visa. About the visitor visa, the number itself is reduced. So the number of visa issued will be reduced, refusal rate will be higher, strict approach, and of course, you cannot now get a visitor visa based on, okay, I can do it on a hotel booking, Hotel booking, no, you will not be able to get it. You need sponsorships, sponsorship requirement, more documentation, stronger documentation, and if need be, even interviews. US visa, you can get only after interview. So even Canadian government is thinking of conducting the interviews for visitor visa. So that's about visitor visa. But remember, visitor visa and LMIA, these are two connected things, because people come on a visitor visa, and I have a complete video on this. So if you have not watched, please do watch visitor visa to LMIA. So complete video, complete covering of all the angles and details about it. But visitor visa and LMIA go hand in hand. So LMIA, let's talk about on the LMIA also, the cut is going on. The first cut is 20%. Earlier the number was 30%. Temporary foreign workers in an organization are 20%, not more than that. So if you have 10 workers, you cannot have more than 2 temporary foreign workers. This is for the most of the industries except now for healthcare and construction. So with that, LMIA duration is also reduced to 6 months from 12 months. 12 months was the original duration. Actually, you know what? Original was 6. Then it moved to 12. Now they have came back to 6. So LMIA duration is reduced back to 6 months from 12 months. And more advertisement requirement is there. Employers will need to explore every option before they can get a LMIA. And more scrutiny on the temporary foreign worker and LMIA program by the government. So that's about LMIA. And I always say, each case is different. Each situation is different. What is best suitable to you? What is best applicable to you? If you want to know that, you can book an appointment. Our office is located in Brampton. Address, email ID, phone number. Everything is shared right here with you. Very important. If you have still not subscribed to the channel, please do consider subscribing. Our team puts lots of effort to bring all this data and information to you. Thank you very much for watching the video. Thanks.